right, we're beginning our Mirabelle's treatment plan for her left front lameness, which I am suspecting is either a laminitis event or a hoof abscess. Given her presentation, it really could be either. A laminitis, for those of you who don't know, is inflammation of the lamina of the hoof, which is the kind of interdigitating space right underneath where the hard part of the hoof is, and it can get inflamed, and it's basically like this unforgiving zone in there. It's there's only so much it can expand, and so that's really painful for them when it gets inflamed. And she's an older mare. She's got a lot of stuff. She came to me with kind of hooves that were really problematic, and I've been doing the best I can to rehab her, and she's done great. But I think she also might have early stage Cushing's disease, which can predispose them to laminitis. So it really could be that, or it could be a hoof abscess. So I'm preparing her hoof poultice in case it is a hoof abscess. I'm going to go ahead and do an animal Lintex pad, which is right here. I'm doing a wet animal Lintex pad, and I'm going to use some Epsom salt on top of that to try to draw out anything if she's got an infection in there. I did not find anything in my initial poking around, but an abscess is an infection underneath, kind of in the middle of the hoof parts, and it has to kind of break out somewhere. So it's incredibly painful for them, and she is quite painful. She does not want to put weight on this leg. So anyway, I'm going to do my little hoof poultice, get that all situated, keep her in these soft ride boots, which are cloud boots, which are really cushy in case it's laminitis. Having that extra cushion's good. She and the other two mares are going to be contained in this smaller pen so that she doesn't get pushed around by the other more dominant horses, and she can kind of rest. And I'll also hopefully at some point today be able to do acupuncture and laser on her, so that she'll kind of get the works of everything, and we'll hope for her feeling better in the next day or two. She is also on pain meds and herbs. So yeah, we may or may not be able to get all this on video, but thought I'd at least lay out what my treatment plan was going to be. And yeah, it's of course muddy and wet, so that doesn't really help us a ton. She needs to have her feet trimmed too. So yeah, it's all just a navigation of a lot of moving parts. But yeah, we'll get her situated here with her wrap. Good girl.
Meanwhile, Mr. Dragon thinks he needs to come in here.
So yeah, I use a wet wrap because I think it helps to draw things out. So these animal Lintex pads are fantastic. They're great at drawing things, and I have this gauze here to kind of protect the heel bulbs, and then I wrap it with vet wrap, and then the Gorilla Tape goes on top as an extra protective waterproof layer. It really only lasts a couple days, but it does help to draw things out sometimes. It makes me feel better I'm doing something also. There are certainly some folks out there that are like, nah, doesn't help, but I think any little bit helps. So it feels better to me to do something. She's got a bunch of Artemud on here, which is she's got a deep central sulcus crack here, you can see, so I've been trying to treat that with Artemud, which is an antimicrobial, antifungal, magical putty, and that For any of you that don't know about Artemud, it is just incredible for thrush or any kind of hoof infections. If you live in a moist place, it's just priceless. So I'm very liberal with all my wraps just because it makes it easier to keep everything on while I'm in the stages of she does definitely not need cotton gauze all over her hoof, but it does help me kind of anchor everything while I'm getting all my other stuff together. I don't want to make it too enormous because I don't want to get her super off balance. And this is like the down and dirty, you know, we're out here in the flipping mud and the freezingness and the dirt.
Well, thankfully it's not too muddy right here.
Yeah, it's not too bad. And she's been in that boot and her foot was actually pretty dry, which is great. So with this stuff, you gotta be really careful to not over tighten it. It's really easy to get this way too tight and then you can end up cutting off circulation to their foot, which is the last thing you want. So I'm just kind of anchoring this. You can see I kind of unroll it first and then wrap it so that I'm not wrapping it with tension. And then I'm just going to cover this with the Gorilla Tape. And just, it's okay, Mirabelle. She's not a fan. Doing great. She's got her pile of hay that she's happily eating. So just kind of coming along the toe. Hoof abscesses, if it is a hoof abscess, most of my horses, for whatever reason, I'm sure that I could trace this to some kind of theory, but they tend to abscess out of their heel bulbs. So when the abscess ruptures, it tends to rupture back here. So when I put these pads on, can you grab me that? I like to cover the heel bulb too with the medication. And then this may not be quite big enough, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this wrapped on there, and then I'm gonna cover it, kind of secure it with more Gorilla Tape so that it holds it. I didn't make it quite big enough. So I will secure that with another round.
So about how long will this stay on?
I'm gonna leave it for probably, depends on how much moisture we get and how well it stays, but I'll probably leave it for maybe 48 hours, maybe just 24. Same thing with the Gorilla Tape. Be careful not to go too tight. Just trying to get it anchored. People that are more expert than me use far less materials, but I just have to wrap the crap out of everything because my horses are out 24/7. This is about as contained as I'll ever get them, in a pen like this, and thankfully there's plenty of them so I can not have to separate one at a time. Hang on, girl, hang on. She's feeling there's something strained on her foot. Not the most beautiful, but it's going to serve its purpose. Hopefully, she doesn't really want to put any weight on that foot, so I don't know that her boot's going to fit on there anymore, but hopefully it does. You can see this cushy cloud pad. It's got great cushion for them. So yeah, we'll see if I can get this back on. And then I'm going to quickly do a laser and acupuncture treatment just to kind of help her blood flow for anti-inflammatory benefits. You always need to try to keep horses as even as you can, so that's why she's wearing another boot on the right. We don't want to just boot one side because they are really they're really dependent on their kind of symmetry in order to stay, have everything, all the trickle up effects.
Is it fitting?
Barely. But I am going to leave it on because I think this might be laminitis, and I want her to have extra cushion, and that bandage isn't going to be enough cushion for her. I know, she's like, where is my treat?
Right
Yeah,
here.
where is
They're
my
on
treat?
my hip here.
Dad has your treats. Hold on. Here you go. Get her. Good girl, Mirabelle. Good girl. There's your head. Not the most beautiful, but it's very functional. She's probably not gonna lose that wrap because she's got the soft dry boot over the top. I've got my acupuncture needles here in my pocket. So we'll give her a feel-good treatment. That's of course amazing for blood flow, pain relief, all the things. And the laser will help me do more on the local parts that might be a little too painful to needle. So yeah, that's our plan. Good girl, Mira.